Okay. All right. Welcome. Greetings, everyone, to Talks on Tuesdays, where we share all things spiritual and metaphysical, supernational. Yeah. Um, and we always take requests as well. I'm your host today. My name is Julie. And at the end of the segment, don't forget to, if you have a comment, put a comment in and subscribe to our channel. And if you need the link, email to talksontuesdays333@gmail.com. So today, we thought we would broaden our conversation about what goes on after you transition, death and dying, any kind of comments or stories that you'd like to share in relation to that subject. And I'll start with this is a big subject for me because I just went through I went through 3 years with a friend of mine who had cancer, and she just transitioned recently, very recently, and it was quite a journey for me. And one of the things that we talked about a lot was what was it going to be like when she's gone? And she wasn't she didn't have a concrete explanation or feelings about what it was. She would say, "I'm not afraid to die," though. She would always say that. And so since she passed away, am always thinking, what is where is she? What is she doing? Is she in school? I mean, what, I don't know, because you hear different things about when you go to the other side, that you have a period. Anka, would you like to share something?
Yes. Um, I want to ask you if she passed, you can you can feel if it's in heaven or in the other place.
In
Like
hell, you
yes,
mean?
you can feel
Uh,
it if you focus.
if I can feel it, well, first of all, for me, I don't believe in hell. So that's easy.
Purgatory. I don't know. Uh, like being on Earth too, but in another dimension.
Okay,
I think she
that's
said purgatory.
story. Yeah, that's
Oh,
very Catholic belief.
yeah,
Yes,
and I'll say that there are so many different beliefs about what happens afterwards. There's the scientific beliefs, and there's Catholic beliefs. I read about them. Of course, I don't remember anything that I read. And in Judaism, they have several beliefs. Different sects of Judaism have several, but in my religion, Jewish religion, I never really learned. I don't remember learning anything about that. They didn't talk about that. Their belief is more in when you're living, how you live your life. So, but anyway, my experience has been really good for me, although sad, but uh I did I did tell her that we needed to make a sign so that she could let me know when she was around. So I had to think of something. And after she passed away, I realized that I had forgotten what the sign was. And I might have said that. So finally, I think I remembered. It was something when I was talking to her sister. She made jewelry all the time with beads. She loved beads. And I have
oh,
a bunch of her stuff. So anyway, I realized anything that has to do with beads is the sign.
Bee, it's like insect or what?
No, beads, like beads you put on a string, like jewelry beads.
Oh,
Beads.
okay.
Yeah, beads. And so I talk to her and say, okay, I'm waiting, and that's kind of fun to talk to her and, you know, stuff. So that's kind of my feeling that we go to maybe our consciousness goes to a different realm, possibly different dimension. I don't know. And I've heard things like we go to there's a rest period, and then you do not school, but something like that. And
I I imagine something. If you watched Clona, the film,
what is it?
the Clona, it's a film.
Can you spell it? Because I'm not getting, does anyone
Clone,
get that?
clone, no. Okay. Uh,
Uh,
know how to say.
What's the
Like
film about?
like clones, like having a clone of yourself.
Yes, I believe that clonas give the other dimensions.
Oh, so it's a film about that people are cloned and live in other dimensions. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
okay. Yeah, that's a little different. I think our souls come back sometimes, depending on decisions that we make there, after we're gone. Our souls travel. Or we're there at the same time when we're here. We've talked about that. We're in a different dimension, you guys help me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there are a lot of different people who have either studied this or experienced it, and they talk about what they have experienced in their near death,
Mhm.
what they've observed there. I watched this show on YouTube called Hacking the Afterlife,
Ooh.
and the psychic Jennifer Schaefer. Um, there's a group of movie stars and performers that are always around to chat and give advice, and former presidents. They're all famous, but it sounds as if, according to this view, that it's not a resting place. You go on and you do good work while you're on the other side. You might be inspiring people. You might be giving them a heads up if they need guidance. Like Abraham Lincoln refuses to talk politics. He says, you just have to love each other. And that's what he's busy doing. And it's really kind of interesting that it's like you go from one life to this afterlife, which is its own kind of life, and duties and friendships and organizations, classes you take. And then when it's time for you to come back here to apply what you've learned there, then you do. But I, like you, Julie, I don't believe in hell or purgatory. I think they are here.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, you look around the world and I can't imagine worse health than what we're seeing in some of the places around the world.
Yeah, and some of the things that individuals in life go through, experience. I mean, you just go, my God, so yeah, that's so true. And I love what you said about, what happens, the teaching and the levels that people, that spirits or souls go through. That to me is very comforting. And I would rather believe that resonates with me rather than other beliefs,
Yeah, well, we don't need any more strumming of harps.
Hey, I like harp music.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting because over the weekend I went to see a movie about death, and it was created by a gentleman who lost a family member very suddenly, and they were kind of overwhelmed with what they had to do afterwards, all the follow-up stuff. Not only just the feelings and emotions of losing somebody unexpectedly, but then all the logistical things they had to deal with. So he made a movie, and a group of us who are kind of into death went to watch it, and it was fantastic. He's going to try to get it at some festivals and stuff. And it was called something like let me find the information on it. Death out of the shadows. And it's like how we can heal the fear and trauma. And they interviewed a number of people who have been around death quite a bit, and death doulas or end of life doulas, emergency room personnel, EMTs who are on the spot quite a bit with people who are in those traumatic situations, and the grief counselor. And I thought the grief counselor had an interesting perspective, and he said, and this kind of goes to what you guys were just talking about. He thinks, of course, how he knows, who knows, but this is his belief that what happens after we die, at least in the short term, shortly after we transition, is what people believe will happen. And so whatever they think and expect kind of is what there's a good chance. Now, I've heard of people who were, say, Jewish, and they say, oh, I saw Jesus. But frequently people will see or connect with an entity that's of their own background. And even people who are Jewish sometimes know about Jesus because, he's just such a
Well, Jesus was Jewish. Yeah.
there you go, right? Yeah. But oftentimes people who are very religious will connect with God or some sort of religious icon, maybe see Mary or something, and then people who are not religious or who have a different religious affiliation will connect with that religion's, whatever that how they present. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I have connected with people who have transitioned, but I've never really asked them, what's it like over there? So I can't speak to that. But anybody else have any thoughts? I'd like to hear what other people have to.
Me too. Yeah.
Well,
Laurie Therese. Oh, okay. I guess that's where the hand is good to come in. All right, let's go with you, Laurie Therese, and then we'll let Renee share too.
am I? No.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can hear ya.
Hi, everyone. I listen
Hi.
to everything, and I can just share what I have experienced. And that is, I've always asked people that is close to me, because I'm very fond of wind chimes or whatever. And I said, if you ever want to contact me, please come and play with my wind chimes. And there were quite a few times that my wind chime was going off, and I always have a string of them, not only one. And that specific one was making the music out of, I can say, out of heaven, where the others was perfectly still. And then I started to notice whenever I am really sad or when there is something really in need or whatever, it is one of my wind chimes, even if it's hanging in a room where there is no wind, that thing is started to make music. So from my side, what I have decided is they are at a different dimension, but yet they can see us, and I think we must kind of learn more how perhaps to perceive them from their direction as well, because there were too many times that was really that I could say, that is my mom. I can feel her, and things like that. So that's the only thing I can share that I have learned over the years that some of my loved ones or whatever, and I could always tell which one because
Hmm.
each had a different way of making noise with my wind chimes. So that's all I want to share.
I love that. That's great. And I just have to add that my mother also loved wind chimes and rainbows. So whenever I would pass wind chimes that were going, not in the house because I don't keep them in the house, but if I'm walking, I think of her or rainbows. Oh my God, look at the rainbow. I think of her, and that's the connection. You know, I don't always so much feel her, but you know, I can relate to that totally. Okay, Renee, share with us.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you're cutting out.
Maybe you can put it into the chat, Renee.
Are you going to try again?
Can you hear it?
It starts out good and then it breaks up.
Well, then
Oh, no. A sun catcher, huh, Anka? Is that a
A
sun
dream
catcher?
catcher.
A dream catcher.
A dream catcher, that's what it is, because I have them
Nice.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice,
beautiful.
Anka.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
Anka,
okay. No, go ahead, Bob.
I was going to ask Anka, normally we don't ask people if they want to share, but you started talking earlier, Anka, about purgatory and asking Julie some questions. Is there anything that you would like to share? Because I don't think that anything, and I personally don't think anybody's belief is right or wrong. We're not going to say, oh, that's wrong, whatever you feel. So if you want to, feel free to share with us, not that you have to.
I want to say things, but I don't know. I believe that about purgatory. Are people that are like seem very much and remembers you about somebody that passed, you know, and like I don't know, like many faces that could have people like masks that I don't know. You understand
Um,
or?
Barbara,
Not sure, but I think that you're saying that people have different expressions of themselves
Yes,
and that you're not sure, you're not clear either, which is, as far as I'm concerned, totally okay because
yes,
it's something that none of us will totally ever know. We all have.
because they seem very much, you know, uh, they have blue eyes or uh, green eyes, but the same person looking at the face. And I don't know, it's like a clona or something
Okay.
that say the Chelsea.
so are you saying that it's a clone? Is there's the same person on the other side and one in the
Yes,
finite world?
yes, 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 yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Thank you.
Because I believe that appears that person because you missed some of their features of their looking of their personality that remembers you when you are little. I don't know because we are chills at first, but adults, adolescents, adults, these are phases that in that you understand different the life
Mm.
or I don't know.
So are you
I
saying like,
consider myself the child of the world, but I want to be an adult, and I struggle with looking people like me like I'm a child.
So are you saying that if you meet somebody who seems very familiar to you and you have a connection with them, that maybe you knew them in a different realm, a different dimension?
Yes.
And that's kind of what Gordy said, like a connection in a past life. That's a little bit what I was saying too. I mean, that's what I kind of
Mm-hmm.
think. I mean, that's how I interpreted. And you're right. I mean, sometimes we meet people who we just click with right away. You know, we're not even sure why.
And you
Yeah,
feel
there's some
like
connection.
if it's a somebody, you feel like knowing them without speaking, or if
Right.
it's a guy or a boy,
Mhm.
you feel it like chemistry or something.
Like you,
Yes.
and you know them. You know them. Yeah. Okay, I understand. Yeah. I love that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had a number of people who I've felt that with, who I like when I first met Veronique through
Mhm.
Reconnective Healing. And it's like, I know her. I don't know how I know her.
Mm,
She lives in France. I live
right.
in the US, but there is something there that, you know, we have that connection. So yes, I can relate to that, Anka, very much. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, well, we're all connected. That's,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a,
And all connected and all one. And I
mhm.
want to learn this from Eric Pearl. We are all one
Hmm.
because it's very important. Because if you feel lonely, it's okay to feel uh, others without thinking that them are near to you. Um, I don't know. When you
Mm,
feel you are full, when you are with all the people, and like a puzzle.
Hmm.
The people are the puzzle, and the big picture, we are all one. You
Yes.
understand?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I
Yep.
know in the past, Renee's talked about that as far as being a piece in a puzzle, and there's, you know, a
Mm-hmm.
big overview, and then, you know, us.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Renee writes in the book about Dr. Bruce Grayson's book After that we talked about a couple weeks ago, which is yeah. And
Yeah.
didn't he follow up with work by initially Dr. Stevenson who did that, who started that work at the University of Virginia, and then I think he died.
He's in that department that Dr. Stevenson started.
Yeah.
I think there's another professor there who actually does the reincarnation work that Stevenson was, but he started this division of perceptual studies, and they are looking at this phenomenon of out of body, after death, between lives,
Mm.
memories, and studying them scientifically.
Yeah.
And in this on this earth are so many people, and if we will live uh, as far as should we live, um, we can meet them and learn lessons from them. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yes.
I
Yes.
wanted to say like we have to be authentic.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Beautiful. Thank you, Anka. I'm sorry. It looks like our time is up. I was going to read my poem, but I think, I don't know. Go
Read it.
ahead.
Yeah, read it. You wrote such
Okay.
beautiful.
Yes, read, read, read.
I wrote this poem from grief from my friend. So it's called Tears, an ode to my beautiful friend Nina. And I started with, I had a thought yesterday as I felt teardrops rolling down my cheeks. So sad because my dear friend Nina transitioned recently. That each tear that falls holds a memory, sweet or sad, or whatever you carry inside you, good or bad. Um, Jesus, plump with truth and recognition, that we leave here knowing we are free to see the reality of our existence without fear. I say, surrender to the warm, wet tears that dampen your cheeks. Weep your pain, loss, and love, or how you tarry with the burden you keep. Release your sorrow, it will come and go, and let the tears fall, and know that the beautiful souls that have left our world smile with love down at you from above. I love you, Nani Claire. That was it.
That's beautiful.
I want to say something.
Okay.
Yes.
I cried about what you say at final. I cried and I feel what you said very much in this morning, and I
Thank
like
you.
it.
Thank you. Thank you, Anka. And on that note, we will say adieu and join us next week again for Talks on Tuesday.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye, Louis Therese.
Bye-bye.